It's 7 o'clock. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Should we go around and do a roll call here? Warren, you want to start?
Or flowers.
Laura?
it.
No, yeah, we're just doing the roll. Just saying you're here.
It's life history at this point. You start out
Yeah, right.
grade school and
Lauren Smith here.
Tim Moore.
Lisa Pavone here.
Alice Reel.
Fred Gallagher.
Tish Gallagher.
Bill Emily.
Okay. We have a little dilemma here because by the rules of the resolution that created this committee, I cannot be chair anymore. And so I mentioned it a couple times and I couldn't find anybody who was able and or interested in doing it. So it's come to a little bit of a head right here and I am not able to do it. Nor do I think I should do it after 3.5 years. So I think we've got to discuss, well, first of all, before we do that, Warren, why don't you tell us about you? And then we'll go into that.
Point of order, shouldn't we review the minutes from the last meeting first?
We should do that. The new chairman should do that.
Well, we don't have a new chairman right now, so
I
why don't
think
you
you're
leave
gonna
the
have
meeting
one
for
right
now?
tonight.
tonight.
Step down and then we'll go from there. You won't be the chair after today.
Okay. All right, okay. The first thing on the agenda is the review of the minutes of the last meeting. That's not really necessary because the meeting was that we didn't have a quorum, so we didn't have a meeting in June. But we do have the May, obviously we weren't able to review the May meeting minutes. So does anybody have any comments on the May minutes of the May meeting? No changes? I didn't see any. Okay, somebody want to make a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
If you weren't there, don't vote.
Yeah, right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right, so that's done. Now, so what do you want me to do, Antonina? Because I really.
Just go through the agenda and just kind of leave the discussion and then we'll go from there, but I'll talk about it under strategy and discussion. of
Okay,
efforts.
all right.
Okay,
Okay, so, for those who haven't been here, the whole time that we've been existing, as a task force and then a committee, you should know that, we started out with a brief that we should find, we should indicate what we could possibly do to protect ourselves from, the rising river and flooding and things like that, and to find funding for that. And very quickly, we found a source of funding of the watershed project for the Department of Agriculture, Natural Resources Conservation Service. And we were judged eligible. That took quite a while. So if you're wondering what we've been doing since Easter, took quite a while to get approved for that. We were ready to go. We waited and waited for the funds to be allocated and they weren't. So we had to start all over again. And we started talking to, DEMA and FEMA and also to the Army Corps of Engineers. And as luck would have it, because of the new administration, those funds have pretty much dried up for now. But maybe Antonina can give us an idea of where we are right
so
now.
for now, the BRIC grants have been put on hold. We're hoping that now that we're entering the fall, there's some chatter that it may come back. We're still unsure. We don't know what the federal government's going to decide. But we have already started working on that. So we kind of have things in order if it's, ready to go and we can apply. And then for the Army Corps, they have funding obligations regardless of who's in office. They've had funding obligations for a while now. So they are obligated until next June-ish, so June 2026. So I've already engaged them. I've sent them 3 letters of intent and requests for funds under 3 different types of funding. And that's what they have said. I'm planning to reach back out to them to say, it's June 2026, still a reasonable time frame for you. What can we do? How can we get started to make sure that we are still in line for that? And in the meantime, we're still looking for other funding efforts and resources to
What
help
about
us.
possible block grants through the state? They yearly have block grants, right, for things like that?
So like the funding, grant aid and bond bill and all of that.
Right.
Yeah, so we're looking for other resources. I'm also planning a meeting with the head of DENREC for later this fall to, loop him in. He's new to the role. And to just loop him in and see how we can partner with the state on these efforts. So while it's not wonderful news, we're still gonna be optimistic and see what is out there and if we can find funding. But regardless, we still have to continue trying to figure something out in terms of resolution, how much we raise the dikes and any other preventative measures. So I don't think your work is irrelevant or anything like that. I think it's much needed in this time where everything outside of us is so questionable. We have to do our work here and figure that out.
Okay, so what are you thinking that will be our role then?
So, I was talking to the council president and talking to Ms. Friel. And for right now, while we're still kind of in limbo, I think that we shouldn't meet as often as we were. Hello. We were meeting kind of monthly for the past, except besides the summer, we were meeting pretty often. But I think until we know more, we should kind of meet maybe on a quarterly basis or on just like an ad hoc as needed basis. And I can be in touch with you all to let you know when it's needed, or you let me know if you have an advancement and you want to move. But I think moving forward, we should still continue the efforts and still be a working committee, but
We actually
Not
did
me,
agree, I
that's all.
think at the last, no, would have been the last, it would have been meeting before, to meet on a quarterly basis. So that's actually what we're doing right now. I have to tell you though, when you meet on a quarterly basis, you lose any momentum. When you got something going and then it's 3 months before you are able to talk about it again.
I get it.
Which isn't a bad thing right now because we really don't have anything that
Right.
that we can do.
But I'm
right
just saying for this time being, while things are still kind of like up in the air,
Mhm.
slow it down so you don't feel so much pressure and don't feel like, what can we do when there's no resources that seem to be available? But then once they do become available, absolutely meet more often.
Yeah. And what, do you know, I guess you probably wouldn't know what kind of notice we'd have for that. Would they, if DEMA did finally get some funding from FEMA,
Yeah.
would it be like, a file
Well,
is tomorrow kind of thing?
No, not in a day, but when it did become available in the spring, it was like, we were waiting, and then it was like, okay, it's due in a few weeks from now. And it was like 3-4 weeks for us to prepare the grant application, and then they ripped it away. So I'd imagine if it were to come back, that it would be a pretty quick turnaround.
If we are able to do the DEMA application, what would be our role in that application? Because it seems to me like you really know what you're doing. We don't.
Well,
They're
you are the
necessarily-
experts, so I'm not the flooding expert. I'm just trying to help organize all of this. So I absolutely want your insight and your input into what needs to be done. I think the three of you and Tim were here probably when most of these reports were created. So you know the history, and that's really important to
Okay.
applying for this. So definitely, assistance with the components of the grant and feedback on the actual grant application itself.
Yeah. The only other thing that I can think of that might be still in the hopper would be that organization that's through the University of Delaware, where they get engineers and landscape architects together. I think you guys, we talked about this a while ago, where they put together a plan for you to, solve some of your flooding problems. And
Yeah, and the
since we-
students work on it through the summer. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll get it back in touch with Danielle Swallow and see if that's up.
Yeah, that's the fella. And that would be more of a drainage thing, I think, rather than because this is a big, where is the river? I was trying to look there. This that way. This would be, that's why, okay. This would be a big project that we would need probably federal funding for, or at least, state funding for.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas that, we might be able to do something with, if they had something to help out with.
Yeah, I know when we
drainage
last
fix.
asked about it, the projects were already obligated, but
Yeah.
now it's early enough in the school year where it might be
Yeah.
time to ask.
Yeah, you really have to get him like almost, how about the year after that kind of,
Mhm.
thing, because he's really, because I know that there are a lot of people who are begging for their help, you know, in the state, so.
Absolutely. And I know Tim has an update on the inland flooding.
Yeah, back in June, I believe it was June, April.
And then June,
We had met in reference to the.
Right, the June,
Well,
there wasn't really a June meeting.
And so in June, I had followed up with Karen from Cologne, who is Panoni, sorry, not Panoni, who is one of the engineers for the engineering firm for the state of Delaware. So, and just to kind of like recap on some stuff that we talked about, you know, what she felt, that came after the meeting. I sent her some pictures of flooding on the road and that kind of stuff. And then she advised me at that time that, which I brought to the committee, that there was going to be a flood study in the area coming soon. So I kind of let things die down for the summertime. And then I reached out to, I'll probably butcher her name, Trisha, spelled a little different. So I reached out to her, and just to say, hey, just following up, kind of see where we are with things, in reference to the study. So the good news is the study has begun. So along with the study, there will be a survey that goes out, to, not all the citizens of Newcastle, from my understanding, but citizens that will be affected by the flooding.
So this is just for
and then
Newcastle
This is
City
for,
or
this is
county
for
or?
our area here,
Oh, okay. Oh,
not, nowhere else.
okay.
For the inland flooding on Route 9 on this northern
On-
side.
Is this the study where they have that big truck-like thing that goes around?
So I didn't get into much detail.
Yeah, they
in
didn't
what
give
the
us all
stud-
those details.
Yeah, and what the study consisted of. I didn't want to ask too many questions. I wanted to try to get information from them and then kind of go back, given what information we received. So.
It's already begun though.
So the study's begun, the surveys, I'm sorry, the letters notifying the citizens that they're gonna be coming out, walking on property. I guess it's, they call it a letter noting the right to trespass, letters noting the right to
So
trespass.
to the property owners.
To the right, to the
Right.
property owners. And then they're gonna be doing a survey, sending a survey out. I believe the city will get a survey as well, since they fall into that category. The survey is gonna come out in the end of this month.
Really?
So,
Wow.
yeah, so the only thing that I don't know as of yet, I'm waiting for a reply, is how long does this study take? So I didn't want to get into too much back and forth with Trish yet. But I kind of want to see what information she has and then go from there to try to get more more detailed information and all.
But Tim, you said the letters have already gone out?
The letters have been mailed, so who's ever getting them.
Yesterday or today
Yeah.
or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Just went out.
yeah, so I would say this week, end of this week, I would venture to say they will probably, people
Or
should
next
start
week.
getting.
The
other
warning you're gonna
things
get.
done. But so I didn't ask what the area is. I kind of wanted to, I was gonna touch base with Antonina and see kind of like what the letter said first before, I just engaged back and say, hey, what does the area consist of? Type thing, because I didn't want to be pressure.
Yeah.
And although, sometimes it's good, but I think in this case, because the meeting back in April was a little like standoffish initially, and then once they seen and understood, and then
I
they saw,
understand totally what
they
you're
saw
saying, yeah.
pictures, then it was a different story. Then they were engaged.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, and I was gonna
Yeah.
say, this is pretty good
So
that
this,
you've
so
got such a quick turnaround.
yeah, so I think this, and I think the Route 9 project has a lot to do with it. I spoke with one of the inspectors from that, and they were supposed to lift it like 5 inches, 6 inches. I was told it got lifted 9 inches. I don't know if I believe that, but that's what I was
It's hard
told.
to tell, it's
So,
whoever they are.
So, yeah, so we'll find out, I guess, when.
Well, we're
we'll-
virtually in a drought right now, so it's hard, you can't really tell, you know, what
But
what
we
the
are,
difference
but
is
we,
gonna be.
we are in storm season now, though.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
well, although
And the
it's been
good
kind of
news-
dry, we are in storm season, so.
Right.
This will give us the opportunity, not wishing anything,
No,
any bad happening, but this will give us the opportunity to capture more,
Yeah.
more pictures for them, because Karen from Panoni was all about pictures, like, hey, send me pictures, because it's beneficial, like, it will help and all, so. So that's where we currently stand with that.
I think that the truck you're talking about is the one that takes pictures of places and then shows where the,
Safety pictures or something.
it
Oh,
virtually gives us flood. And they were going to go through that, and, I forget the name of the company that did that, but, they're probably finished now. They don't come to us and say, here they are. But, you know, we can, access them when they're done, if we need them, kind of thing, so. That's
those are
what's
like,
going on.
those are more like, yeah, predictive, like AI generated kind of
Exactly.
pictures
That's
of
exactly
what
what
would
it is.
happen, you
Yeah.
know, if there were a flood. And they came back
Like
in
where it would be in your house kind of thing.
your house and on the street and
Which
like,
would really be useful to get people in town really
to think.
aware and
Mhm.
really think about what could happen.
Yeah, I wanna say they did that, I don't know, when was it, March-ish? When they came through the state?
I think it was after that, because I think I talked about it at the May meeting. Oh, it might have been March or April, possibly just before the meeting in May. That I talked about it, that they were, they may have just done it,
Mhm.
you know, so.
Yeah, I can follow up with Danielle as well and see if she has an update on that, and if the pictures are done, because I don't know how long it takes.
Yeah.
Additional pictures, I have it, all the stuff in the Louisville yard back in
Oh,
the
yeah.
early eighties.
Oh, good.
Flooding and things, so.
Okay.
Yeah, good, I can get that.
Yeah, if you
Okay.
could send them.
Discussion of other efforts, we did talk about, you know, from this book, this is a great book, because it gives you all the kinds of things that you can do to, fight flooding, either, river flooding or, drainage problems, stormwater drainage. And we talked about a couple of things, and one of the things we talked about was, the drainage problems, that there are places in the city, that hasn't happened in the last couple of years, because we haven't had the kinds of rains that we had previously, but, there were places in the city where it was, flooding big time, just from storm, runoff. And, an idea is for, rain gardens that you can create, you know, you make a depression and then you fill it with this kind of porous kind of stuff, and, you know, plants and flowers that grow in, kind of, wet, you know, conditions, and that will absorb a lot of the rainwater. You know, it holds it for a while and lets it settle and not, you know, travel down everybody's street. I think. So I have tried to contact Charleston. They have a program called Charleston Rainproof, where they did this program where they gave people like $500 to create a rain garden in their gardens. And also gave them your discounts on rain barrels. So, you know, for to collect some of the water as well. So, but they have not returned my phone calls. They have not responded to my emails. So I don't know if that means they're not really thrilled with their program, or if they just don't believe I'm who I say I am. I don't know, but I can continue going. Or even maybe go down there, knock on their door. I don't
Yeah,
know.
take a trip.
Whatever. Yeah, you take a bellow down there. It's really-
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can.
Anyway,
If you could contact, City of Newark, because I think I saw something that they just did something with rain barrels.
oh, did you?
I was just gonna say, I got something this morning, the fall rain barrel thing is now open, and you
Oh,
can
cool.
request them from the county. They're $50 a piece. However, if you live in the city of Newark, you're eligible for one free. So
Are they
I-
Denmark? Is it
I
Denmark?
wonder how I don't know, it's county. I don't know how they do that.
Right,
I wondered if you knew the
I do.
city manager and could find out, you know, if it was a grant, if that's, if that's dried up, if there's any way. Because it
Yeah.
occurred to me that you know, a lot of people around here garden and, you know, any little bit that can be collected rather than on the streets is a help. And gosh, if everybody did it, you know, it would be something. Plus it's environmentally good, you know, you
Yeah.
can then use that water to you garden in dry times or whatever.
Mhm.
And I mean, they're $50, but the pickup for is soon, like you have to apply for them soon, because the pickup is in early October.
Okay,
And the pickups are when we're home, but, because I was thinking of ordering one, but I don't know whether I can talk the son into picking one up for me.
yeah, I can reach out to the administrator there.
Yeah, it'd just be interesting to know whether that's something that we could work on
Yeah.
going forward, you know, as some little thing to do while we're waiting for bigger
Yeah.
opportunities.
Did you say it was a county program?
I think it came from the county.
Joe may have some info on that as well.
Yeah.
No, wait a minute.
I actually got it the last program, and they, for people who are from here, they actually were giving them out in a place nearby. I'm trying to remember what the name of that, you know, that place where you go to vote? Advance?
Oh, well, they also have given them out at the Route 9 library before.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I think
okay.
that was something
Mhm.
Phil mentioned before, he had seen them there. But I think it's different places. This time I think it's out at that building on 13, like maybe the police building or something.
Uh-huh.
It said $50, it's not $50, they just give them out?
No, it is $50 unless you live in Newark.
Oh, okay.
So probably the city of Newark is probably putting out some money for that, I would think.
Yeah, or like
I looked up where the hell.
you said, maybe they got a grant for it.
Yes, possible, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the Clean Stream Champion, that's hard to say, rain barrel program. And this came to me from Clean Stream Champions, Newcastle County.
Okay.
And the rain barrel program fall 2025 sale is open. And they say that $50 is a 66% discount off the retail price.
They are expensive, yeah.
Yeah, if you buy them online or something, they're more than that, so.
Yeah.
So if anybody is interested, I could forward this to them, but it came originally from the cleanstreamchampion.org website.
Okay.
And that was just today. I mean, it was like.
Right, oh, wow.
How do they know to do that?
I know. So I have here, discussion of other efforts. Do we have anything else that we wanna add to that about, what we're doing going forward or? Okay, so strategy going forward. I think that you were beginning to talk about that, right?
Yeah, so, I think, meeting on less than a monthly basis for now until we have better news. As soon as I hear something about a grant, I'll certainly reach out to you. And then, yes, you would like to step down because you've been overextended as the chair. So I need all of you to think about if you can fill a chair position, if you would like to. And if you're interested, because Alice has done this for a long time, she technically cannot be the chair any longer. If you are interested, please email me and we'll go forward at the next meeting and hopefully add it to the agenda for someone to be appointed. Because until then, we'll just have to have someone orchestrate the meeting
Well,
and serve as the chair.
well, how about if we say, you said that this money might free up in the fall,
Hopefully,
this fall?
yes.
So what are we talking about fall? You're talking about November maybe or something like that?
I don't know. It could be now, it could be next month, it could be November. I really don't know.
Well, so could we say that we will have the next meeting, what is with this October, November, December? That's tough to have a meeting in December, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why don't we say January? No,
Why don't
November?
we do November?
November? Why Bill's shaking his head? Is he saying?
I was just shaking my head at December. I mean, or January, I mean,
So just keep.
That's so
just keep in
Well, here's
mind
what I
too
was
far.
thinking, that we would say January unless we hear from you, at which we can call a meeting.
Mhm.
No?
Well, quarterly would normally be
December, yeah.
no,
No.
October, right? Or
Well, so this
This
is,
is
this
September.
is the September, October, November, December, that's the next quarter, so one of those months. And since we just had the meeting this month, that, would probably be December if we did it that way, but we can do October, I mean, would that be true?
Yeah, why don't we,
Or early November.
I'll send you an email, I'll look at
October,
the
yeah, that's
calendar
next month,
meetings
maybe November,
and send you an early November date.
yeah.
And then when I have this meeting with, Ms. Patterson from Denrec, obviously we can't have a quorum. But I may ask some of the senior members, to participate, one or two of you. That way we have representation and can talk about the history and all the projects that we've done thus far and what we are aiming to do going forward. So I'll let you know once I have a date for that.
For people who are new, this is a really good, document to really review, Bill and Warren. You have already gotten it, right? Yeah, this really gives you an overview of what can be done, what has been done around the world, really. And, how to address problems and even how much they cost. In general, that's probably, this, as the older this gets, the more out of date those prices get, but still, it's a really good, indication of the things that can be done to help people in flooding, both, riverine, as they say, and in, storm drainage. So, I highly recommend this, people read this. And if it gives you any ideas, the next meeting that we have, you can bring them forward and we can talk about some strategies going forward to, for what we can do with our limited funds or even without funds. That would be great if we could have a, further discussion of what people think is the possibilities for the future. Okay, thank you for all your participation while I've been chair, I appreciate it, and, please, one of you come forward and at least be a chair for a little while, or something. So-
The Gallagher sitting right next to you, just change seats.
Oh, Lord, around. I know, I'm thinking. Once you learned my name, it was a problem.
What were you gonna say, Tim?
What is the, with having a chair, what's the time frame? Is there like,
And every 2 years, I think we put.
yeah, I mean, but like,
Like
does
the
each
commitment?
committee have to have a chair?
Yeah, there's,
Or if you don't meet like on a monthly basis, like now, we're kind of talking about, sporadic meetings, I'll just use that term. And also like, how long can a committee go without having a chair?
they really shouldn't.
Yeah.
I don't know what like the best practice is.
Okay. And that's what I,
But
that's,
just to lead the meetings and make sure that the motions are being done and things like that and,
Set the agenda.
yeah. help
yeah,
us-
yeah.
Make sure it's.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a bit of
yeah, I just
paperwork,
wasn't sure what,
it's
what-
it's a bit of paperwork,
yeah.
yeah. So it's just, you have to remember to set the agenda, for instance. And, follow up. And, there were a couple of things that like in the meeting, in the minute for the meeting that, I saw that we discussed and maybe we pretty much discussed those in the meeting today, but something like that, where to make sure that we follow up on what we've said in the previous.
Just keeping everyone on track.
Yeah,
All right.
and also sending around articles and things like that was very helpful. People send me articles and then I send them around. Anyway. Okay. Yeah.
As I been recently appointed here, I've just gone and kind of looked at some things and I just have a question. We're trying to find revenues of financing for projects.
Mhm.
And I've dug into some things and just found places where funding is evidently available in the past.
Mhm.
Again, with this new administration, with the past administration, I have no idea where possibilities lie. because it is so up in the air anymore.
Yeah.
So I just jotted down a bunch of notes that what I had been researching over the last couple months. So I don't know if you guys can enlighten me. So I'm just going to throw some things out there for what I have found
Okay.
and names of federal agencies. So, and of course, you guys all know them, and you all know that I've been attending these meetings when I've been available. And my memory's not what it used to be, so, and I know things have been brought up in the past, but anyway, FEMA, flood mitigation assistance, for reducing flood damage, to, inserting and I'm trying to read my own writing.
Well, I can tell you, Bill, FEMA is what we've been talking about, where the money was there and
Right.
it was just taken away.
And that's what we had been talking about, and that's what we have lost, kind of what had been promised last year, over the last couple
No,
of years.
that was the
And that's what,
NRCS.
pardon?
That was
No,
the
that was the
NRCS.
NRCS, that was
Through
the
the Department of Agriculture.
Okay,
The brick grant is through FEMA.
and that was the Department of Agriculture that we had kind of been promised and was taken away.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, let me see
But,
something.
but it wasn't really the Department of Agriculture. that
It was
put
a
the money.
Natural
It was-
Resources Conservation Service.
It was really that the money wasn't gonna be forthcoming from the federal government, correct?
Yeah, I read that in certain places that some states had sued and they got the money, released. So was,
Well, the problem, that wasn't, we hadn't signed a contract for
oh, I
that.
see, okay.
So the other
I
one
think
for
that
FEMA,
for the NRCS, I think it was implied that it was going to be given to the city, but there was no contractual obligation.
But that was where our hopes were on.
Yeah, you're talking about there were
Yeah.
contractual.
we were found to be eligible for the money and we were told it's a done deal. And then apparently it was.
Right, and that's, but again, that's where a lot of our hopes were lying
Yes.
early on. I not remembered that. Yeah,
Our hopes were there, but we don't have any writing. So there was nothing underway to try and go back and pushing it.
And I think the states that are suing are the ones that actually had a grant
Projects underway.
Right,
and then it was not given or was taken away.
it was taken away.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
those, we weren't in that situation,
Okay.
unfortunately.
right. So let me keep it going here. Let me see. Let's see, hazardous mitigation plan. That was part of the FEMA. Then Army Corps of Engineers, of course, for flood control, shoreline protections.
Mhm.
The Army Corps of Engineers, what's possibilities with that now?
So that was the funding that's not gonna be available until 2026.
2026 that you were talking about just a little bit ago, right?
Yes.
We are in
Yeah,
contact with them.
Right,
They know
right.
what our situation.
And then there's NOAA,
Yeah, that's.
which was floods through programs for climate resilience, regional challenges for collaborative coastal habitat funds, which focuses on the natural solutions with the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation.
And we originally looked at that and I can't remember why it wasn't
It's
suitable, but
for
it
smaller
was.
communities like
Yeah.
us.
But for some reason, I don't
It
remember.
didn't pan
right.
out. I know
No.
when somebody.
They're more oceanic than.
Right, and also, they also are pretty much decimated. Noah is almost gone.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, FEMA's been cut almost in
Yeah.
half.
Yeah.
really?
And when we had the whale issue, I worked with NOAA and they were very helpful and they did wind up financially helping us and helping us coordinate it as well, but it was a struggle to get them to even commit to that because they don't have funds. And that was just, a one-off random crazy thing, but it was a good example that they really are very limited in their funding right now.
Now, one that surprised me was HUD. For community development block grants used for mitigation and past disasters. Now, I don't know where we fall in the line of past disasters other than the one storm, couple storms we had been, I don't know, 8 years more ago, where we took a beating along the Delaware River.
You're talking about Superstorm Sandy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe that, yeah,
Well, I mean,
we lost the pier and
I
everything.
mean, we just had one more recent, three years ago when we went door to door from Third Street down and
Yeah.
asked people to move their vehicle.
Yeah,
And that was just, that was based off of, stacked tides, you know what I mean? You know,
But
That had
wind.
to have been more than 3 years ago.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
We didn't have any damage, though, do we? Tim, did people really have much damage?
Nah,
They thought it was gonna be
damage
some more.
was minimal, but I mean, but we had water up to, you know, up to the strand
yeah,
and all.
Was that the one, were you there when
And-
all the debris came on?
Yeah, like where Battery Park,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Battery Park is, we had water up on Third Street, cause when we walked on Battery Park, it was.
That's right.
We probably had, I mean, it was up to my chest, cause I'm not, you know, I'm not a tall person, you know what I'm saying?
But
So
you're
that
not
ain't
on
hard,
your knees,
but,
right?
but still, I mean, it's, but for water to be, for standing water like that, you know, so that was about 3
That
years
was the
ago.
one where we had just moved in to Bull Hill and the basin there filled to the
Yeah.
very top,
Yeah, a lot of them were bubbling.
but it held.
Yeah, I had 3-foot trees by 15 feet long in my yard.
but surprising enough, that's a HUD program that
well,
can,
it sounds like an after the problem kind of, grants though, right? It's, you have to have a disaster in order to get the.
And that's HUD, so is it more river or is it more stormwater? Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
used for mitigation for past disasters. It says for
Yeah.
past disasters. But yeah, and again, for smaller communities, which we fall in the realm, but yeah.
I hadn't heard about that one, but, maybe that's more of a general thing than just the flood, you know, there could be something beyond that too that I was involved in, or it used to be at least.
Right, again, Fish and Wildlife, EPA, Fish and Wildlife. But anyway, that was just some that
Thank you for doing that. Appreciate it, because we did, when we first started, we went through every possible that we knew of. We didn't think about HUD, but that we knew of as a possibility, including Fish and Wildlife and NOAA and a couple of others too, that including this Natural Resources Conservation Service, which we hadn't really heard of before either. So if you hear of anything, you know, that'd be great. We need any help we can get.
And the EPA was funding through the Clean Water State Revolving Fund is what it's called.
I think they're gonna do away with the EPA, aren't they? I mean,
I don't know how you can. You have to have Environmental Protection Agency.
You would think so.
Yeah, I don't know how you can do away with that, although who knows?
Department of Education. I think you need an education.
Well, I'm not gonna touch that topic.
Yeah.
That's a loaded topic for me,
Yeah.
but so I'm not gonna touch that. But yeah, EPA, and then of course Fish and Wildlife, which, what else the note I had? National Coastal, the Wetlands Act, which is
That's the Department of Agriculture. Wetland,
conservation grants to protect the shores, coastal wetlands.
that's the one we were talking about, the Department of Agriculture.
That's pretty much what I had from my notes on any of that.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any public comments?
I got a concern myself.
Sure.
About, well, first of all, my name is James Bowers, and I live right down the street at Jacquet Square.
Uh-huh.
I'll go back almost 40 years ago, when they first redid that street in there in Jacquet Square. They put it in wrong, and I had said something to them then, because what they did, it was like, it comes from the main street and it comes down. They actually flattened that street, and the water runs to the houses. But the further it go down, it stands on the last 4 houses before it dry out. So I got a lot of mud on that side of the street, and a lot of mud on this side of the street. But it start coming down about the middle of the block. Because
This is from just storms?
It's
When
from,
it's heavy rain?
yeah, a heavy
Rainy day?
rain or any rain. In the winter time, when the snow melts, it comes down and in the evening it freezes right there, like 4 or 5 times out of
Great.
tell. Because of the ice. So they come down and put some salt down there. And by the time it froze up, the salt was froze. So I really couldn't do nothing. But I've been letting it go. And then a few months ago, before y'all shut down for the summer, they had come down and cleaned the drain down there.
Right,
That was a big help, but it still didn't help. Because
not for
every
your
time-
street, you mean?
Right,
Didn't help your
because every time it rained, it stops right there at the last site, some of the last sites on the right, 34 and 32. We get the wood and the mud right there from everybody else. When they wash the cars, it all comes right down and bring all the mud and all that. And it stays there. But when it rains, it starts at, I'd say about 16. And it drains all faster up on that end, but the further it come down, it slows and then it stops until the sun dries it up. or the wind.
So we're looking at, we're working with the county to continue cleaning that pipe out and making sure that it's clear.
But it's
And
not,
seeing if there's any way that we can help with the drainage system, if there's any issues.
that's fine. The rain do go in the drain.
Yeah.
It's when it hits or stops, the rain don't go all the way down.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're gonna work with them to see if there's any way we can improve that.
Well, like I say, I've been down there close to 40 years now.
Yeah.
And that's the way it's been. Winter times is the worst because when it snows, melts, it freezes up,
Yeah.
and then the ice goes from the curve all the way almost to the center of the street. That's
Mhm.
pure ice on both sides of the street.
Did you say they changed the street and made it that way though? Is that what you're saying?
Right, this was about maybe, I'm gonna say close to 20 years ago.
Okay.
Or so. Because when I first moved in there, I've been there, like I said, almost 40 years. You could tell when it rained, it always ran off. Especially down there. We never had no backup of no mud and water until they changed it. So now it's more like flat
Okay,
all the way down there.
okay.
They didn't grade it right.
Right, that's what they did.
Yeah.
And they knew, because I tried to point it out to them. And I don't even know who they were that did it back
Right.
then. But, and the other concern was, I was under the impression that we were getting the same lights that, William Penn got over on Jacquet Square. The pole lamps and, the street light. Well, there used to be a lot of bugs flying around right there on that.
Yeah, we
big
can't
light.
do anything about lights, unfortunately.
I know, but I'm just
Yeah.
pointing that out. They
Well,
got-
Antonita should, maybe you could tell her about it, because she's this city manager, city
I figured
administrator.
they put the lights, but they coming down that way and then all of a sudden it stopped.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're looking at a possibility to expand the lights and how to fund that and all that. But in regards to the bugs, I know that the state did a few more spraying, days this summer. And I think they came out maybe 4 weeks ago. They were out recently, so
But I'm
Should be a little
just worried more like weather getting ready to change and the ice is coming.
mhm.
And that's
No, I
my
understand.
big concern right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely, I understand.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
all right.
Aretha, do you have something?
Yeah, I do. My name's Aretha Brown. William Penn Court. Well, my concern is Buttonwood Avenue, Lincoln Street. And I want to thank Alice for coming out and spending some time. As we walked around, I was trying to show her, what I was talking about as far as the flooding back there behind Lincoln Street. That backs up to Buttonwood Avenue. And after talking to her and looking at some things, my first concern was to see if we couldn't get that, the ditch or the drain that used to be right along Buttonwood Avenue and into an old, tunnel that ran into a little, I guess could be considered a river or whatever in Buttonwood, the ditch. If we could get that opened up and, was concerned about the other neighbors, going through their backyard to get there. But after I thought about it and was looking at it, there is already a drain right on right on Buttonwood Avenue that backs right up to Lincoln. And I was just wondering why that couldn't have a drain extension or something off of that pipe to take out that water that lays back there on Lincoln Street. No. That's my concern.
Okay, I'll look into that. Thank you.
It's further down,
Does anybody have anything to add today?
We're gonna have him space over here.
The warrant?
Yeah, he's already ready to go home.
Anyways, do you want to say something? Lauren?
No, I mean-
Okay. Okay. Does anybody want to make a motion that we adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thanks.